Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. Thank you to Mint Mobile for helping us have a hotline where you guys can actually call in a question for us to address here on the show. And that Mint Mobile hotline phone number is 951-268-4259. Go ahead and call it in and maybe you'll hear your voice on the show. So Jonathan, what is our hotline question today?
Hey, John. I was listening to you guys on the show today talk about the situation happening around the Blade film, and I guess I'm wondering, what options do they really have as far as redoing this movie? Do they have to finish a script in this next 6 to 8 weeks and meet that deadline? Or do they have an option of maybe trying to push back the filming of the film and rewrite the script? Can they afford to do that? How much time can they afford to push off if they wanted to? Yeah, I'd just love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks a lot for calling that in. On the question of can they afford to do that? Yes, they can financially afford to do it. Whether or not that's what they want to spend their money on, we don't know. Listen, this Blade situation has been in the news a bit lately for a couple of reasons. Number one, that D23 came and went and they never whispered a word about it. Then we found out that the director has left just like 6 weeks before the movie was supposed to start shooting. I can't remember that ever happening in the MCU. 6 weeks before a movie's supposed to start shooting in the MCU and the director walked. Never heard of that before. Then reports started coming out that despite the fact that they announced this movie 3 years ago, that the script is apparently still a mess. 90 pages with 2 lackluster action scenes. And apparently on top of all that, reportedly Mahershala Ali's gotten pretty frustrated, which I guess you could understand considering he's sitting there with his 2 Academy Awards on his lap thinking, I'm not getting any younger. They announced me 3 years ago. And it feels like to him, we're no closer to getting this thing together. I don't think if the report, and this is a big if that report of that script being in as much disarray as they're saying it is, there's no way they make their start shoot date. And there's definitely no way they make their release date for 2023. No way. And then we started talking the other day of in Hollywood productions, domino effects are very, very, very real. It's a precarious dance when you're trying to, from a logistical point of view, pull off a motion picture. There are literally thousands of moving pieces. And as soon as one piece gets pulled out of place, it can cause the entire thing to fall down. It's a precarious thing. And if now all of a sudden these dates aren't met and all this kind of stuff, well, now cinematographers may need to move on to another project. Costume designers may need to move on to another project. Producers and writers and all this and your star might have to say, listen, we've waited as long as we could. We've got to move on. We've got other projects we have to do. So that raises the question is, I think it's undoubted that they're never going to start shooting on time. I think it's undoubted that they're never going to make that release date if the reports of the script and obviously the director leaving are true. It brings up the very real question of, in this shared cinematic universe that is so intertwined, what kind of larger repercussions does it have if Blade is not out on time? Were they planning on having the Black Knight, have a certain thing that needed to happen in this Blade film so they could have Black Knight do something in another subsequent film? Is something in a further film based on Blade doing something in the Blade movie? And does it become a real possibility that this is a movie they could just cancel? Now, I said on the show the other day, I believe this movie is still getting made. They're going to make it. They're going to move forward. But honestly, I've been thinking about it more. And I think I said a 15% chance. I would give it a solid 40% chance. I think that this film just gets canceled. This is a movie that was announced 3 years ago. It sounds like they're no further ahead than they were 2 years ago. Kevin Feige's reportedly spread incredibly thin. Mahershala Ali's getting frustrated. They don't have a working script yet. They currently don't have a director. Listen, I'm not going to say I think this movie isn't getting made, but I think it's a bigger possibility than I thought it was the other day. Anyway, Chris, we've been talking about this. The person who called in raised some great questions. What are their options at this point? What can they afford to do? What can they not afford to do? And ultimately, what do you see as the possibilities that maybe the Blade film just disappears?
I don't think it's going to Kaiser Sose. I think it's going to stick around. And I know I said the opposite for Star Trek, right? I think this film is going to be completely scrapped. But that's because that is a franchise that hasn't done financially well. Blade has a lot of potential. And I really think they're going to try and make this work. They have a great star attached. Why would you want to lose an Academy Award winner, a two-time Academy Award? winning actor who still looks young, who honestly, a lot of the stunt work and stuff for Blade doesn't have to be as intense, and he doesn't have to get as big as, a Captain America or things like that. And you have incredible stories to pull from. You can use Tomb of Dracula. You can use The Run from the 90s, Death of Doctor Strange. Like, there's so much cool stuff that you can use here that I really, really think they're going to keep trying to make this work. I would take a lower number than you're saying about the cancellation. I'd give it maybe a 20%. I believe in this movie, and I believe in this guy.
All right, Rob, let's throw it over to you. I mean, we all know that this is a precarious dance that everybody's playing. It's a dance of dragons, if you will. What do you think about the current situation that they're in? What are their options? And what do you think the likelihood is that they cancel this?
Well, a director walking 6 weeks before a film is shooting is bad. And it leads me, they have to have been building sets. So there's money that's been spent. They're deep, deep, deep into pre-production. It's worrisome to hear that they have a script that they didn't. Too many Hollywood productions in the last 25 years have gone into production when the script wasn't right.
Right.
It never comes out well. And I think that this is disappointing. As you pointed out, they announced this movie 3 years ago. And I would imagine that of all the movies, because I feel this way as a fan, I don't think they ever cracked what they wanted to do with Blade, because I'm willing to bet that they still don't quite understand, like with mutants, where do vampires fit into the MCU? Where does it? I think that's why Werewolf by Night interests me so much, because I've always talked on this show, especially, where does the supernatural fit in the MCU? I'll bet they've had a hard time cracking that. That's why the script is not 100%. It's not why are there only 2 action scenes? You've got 3 Blade movies, 2 which are pretty good, 1 which isn't. And you can go, well, we've got examples of where to go. And I would have thought that Blade would have been a script that they would have had nailed years ago.
Yeah.
And to know that they don't, you've got an Academy Award winning actor, you're writing for somebody whose strengths that he's cast.
And he won one of those Academy Awards for a very small amount of screen time.
Right.
Ali can do a lot with a little.
A lot with a little. And if he's frustrated, and if the fact that the director walked, because he wasn't, not like James Gunn and not like Taika Waititi, it's not a writer-director project. The director was hired. And I'm sure that, for a director to walk away from creative differences, it has to be a shambles. They're not ready to make this movie, clearly. And I don't think they're going to be, I would only imagine they spent millions of dollars already building sets.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Let's look at it from a slightly different angle. What are the chances? Because schedules are a very, very real, huge thing. Mm-hmm. And when actors sign on for things, they can only keep themselves available for so long.
Yeah.
What are the chances this movie happens, but may have to happen without Mahershala Ali?
I think that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, he's very sought after.
Yeah.
And it's not like he hasn't carved out this time already. Like, and
by the way, none of us are saying that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Right.
This is pure speculation.
This is all speculation.
It's actually why Donald Glover can't do Community. I'm just dropping the scoop now.
Hey, you know what?
I wouldn't be mad about that.
Is the new Blade.
I would watch
He's
the
already in the
shit out of
MCU,
that.
but that would be awesome.
Not to bring up Star Trek again, but Nicholas Meyer basically rewrote Star Trek 2 in just a few weeks. He doesn't get screen credit, but he rewrote the entire screenplay and directed Star Trek 2, and it was pretty great. So maybe they'll bring in somebody. Maybe in the next 6 weeks they'll write that, they'll get the script down.
They could, look, one of the famous stories about that, Joss Whedon and I forget the other one, they literally wrote the script for Cabin in the Woods in a weekend. Which, that, again, that should not be seen as normal. But, so, I don't know. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this with all the drama going on and losing directors? Do you think this movie can actually come out on time? I think that's nearly an impossibility at this point. But does the movie still happen? Does it happen, but maybe without Mahershala Ali? Or is it just, look, things are going to be delayed. Everything's going to be fine. Maybe that's the case. If anybody can pull a miracle out of the hat, it's Kevin Feige. What do you guys think about this? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. And now for the plot twist. I'm just kidding, there isn't one. Seriously, Mint Mobile just has premium wireless service from $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract or opening the bill to find these crazy fees. There's no luring you in with free subscriptions to streaming services that you'll forget to cancel and be charged full price for. I used to dread opening my phone bill every month because every time I was opening it, it was like playing roulette
roulette. I never knew what the actual price was going to be, and it always seemed to get higher. But not with Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And if you're worried about the complication of switching things over, don't. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number along with all your existing contacts. So guys, get premium wireless from just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists at mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Seriously, you'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/Campea.